Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Books and Betches. Not to be confused with books and
Betches.
Okay.
Ooh.
No one's confusing it with that. I'm Kristin, and with me I have
Erica.
And Maria.
Yeah, great. Awesome. This week we're talking about, what are we talking about?
A discovery of witches.
See, I almost said Den of Witches again.
No.
We just did Den of Vipers.
Yeah.
And Kristin was calling it
Diaper Den.
Diaper
Diaper
Den.
Den.
Now it's Den of Witches, but it's not. It's Discovery of Witches.
A discovery of witches.
Written by...
Which, I know we talked about titles with the in the beginning. I thought it was the discovery of witches. It is a
I just kept calling it
discovery of
Discovery
witches.
of Witches. I never put A or the in front
Yeah,
of it.
I would just say Discovery of Witches.
And when I saw it was A, I was like, that's peculiar.
Who's it written by?
That's peculiar.
Deborah Harkness?
Is this an old book?
I can't remember. I read it a couple years ago at this point, so I can't remember.
Wow, you guys
Let's
came
look it
in
up.
with the facts. What did I say about this podcast? People are coming to Books and Betches to get facts about books. This is a factual podcast. People come here to understand books and to get all the important information.
I clapped back at a
got you.
Instagram person that said one of my reels was it was a stupid opinion that I was just trying to be funny, and they were like, this is a really immature opinion. I was like, go to another boring Bookstagram account for real opinions. I'm sorry, it's not here.
No, I totally agree.
Oh, boy.
For the record, we're like three women who just have fun doing we show up in this room, we have nothing prepared, and we talk. We're not trying to make money off this. We're just having fun. So
This is a hobby
yeah.
that we do, that we like hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
We
This
talk
is a
about
hobby
books
we didn't
anyways.
think it was actually going to get off the ground, and it did. And now we're here.
Now we have listeners who we love,
Yeah.
and we're obsessed that people want to listen to us joke around and fuck
Yeah.
around.
So
But
thank you for
Just talk
listening
bullshit
to
for
us.
half an hour.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, we're just, like I said, we're here to make friends and have fun and
laugh.
Yeah.
We're meant to this was just we want to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And our Instagram account is the same thing.
Yeah.
We're not we're
Have
not
you
doing
seen Erica's reels?
Yeah,
We're not doing
50% of
serious
them are
things.
kind of funny.
50%.
at least 50.
49% of them are
Yeah.
a little funny. So
Yeah. So
Kristin's not even on social media, so she can't say shit.
I know, I just love fucking with Erica. Yeah, so A Discovery of Witches, written by
Deborah Harkness.
I was right. Yes.
in what year?
That is too much to ask.
I was trying to save you, but if you, for those
I thought
who
during
are
this
watching
entire
us,
time we were looking it up. Yeah.
No, you distracted her.
Do you remember when you were in middle school and stuff where you went, they would be you'd get a book and they'd be find the copyright date, and you'd have to go to the page and find all the information.
So I was in Common Core. We never
Do you remember how
opened
you
books.
never needed to do that ever in your life?
Yes, actually.
I can't find the copyright date of this.
Maria, you actually just made a good point. People,
publication.
there's some people watching us.
So for those who are watching, the reason February 8th, 2011, done.
Thank you.
We got Xena here. Xena's eating her bully stick, and I am holding it. That's why I was taking forever to type.
Xena is Maria's dog.
Okay,
Xena is my little Maltese.
2014.
Okay. She-
What? No.
she
the
just said
show is
2011.
2014. The book was published in 2011.
2011.
Oh, the show came out in 2014, and it's still
Yeah.
on fucking.
Season 2 just came out.
Oh, because I was I have to watch it on Sundance.
No, not 2014. No. That came out
I think the
2016.
Book of Life. No, 2018.
This is going horribly wrong.
2018. We're throwing a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Third book is 2014. That's what you saw.
Okay.
First
So-
book, which we're covering today, is 2011. I'm sorry. We're recapping. Okay. A Discovery of Witches, a book that Eric and I have read. We are covering that now. It was published February 8th, 2011. There is a show that came out in 2017 or 2018, I believe.
Okay.
We are
September
up to date.
2018.
So
Whoa, there it is.
There's more than one of these books.
There's 3.
It's a trio.
Oh, and they're all out.
Trilogy. Yes.
It's a trilogy.
So we're only covering the first one.
Yep.
We're only covering the
Sorry
first
if
one.
you came here for the rest of them. So this is we spoil on this podcast, and and you're gonna have to get over it. So if you didn't read A Discovery of Witches
or watch the first season.
or what? Oh man, really? I really want to watch this show. Don't give me that look.
What?
I wanted to watch A Discovery of Witches.
Yeah.
You still can.
You just said you're going to spoil the first.
Well, the
What did you
book.
think?
Yeah. What the?
The first book is the first season.
Okay.
What did you think this was?
No, you're right. I asked for this.
Yeah.
All right. What genre is this?
Adult fantasy. That's what I would say.
You think it's adult fantasy?
Mm-hmm. I read it as adult. They are
She
adults.
read it as an adult, so it's adult
I think
fantasy.
they're I guess so.
It's
Wait,
adult.
what do you-
They're both professionals.
What are you pondering?
I think everything. I'm thinking of everything in terms of sex.
There's sex
Why
in
do
this
you
book.
There
always
is sex
do
in the
that?
book.
That's
I
not
don't
what
know.
makes something YA. You literally gave John shit about saying that show was too adult because it has cock in it or something.
No, I said Cobra
Pussy.
Kai. I said Cobra Kai was a kid's show. I said it was
Degrassi.
Degrassi with karate, and John said they say the word pussy too much for it to be a kid's show. That's not a real.
Okay, but then you're standing here and doing the same thing that
She's
he
sitting
did.
here.
Sitting here doing the same thing that he's doing. You're like, oh, I just distinguish it as if it's
Yeah.
young adult.
But
It's
I
an
guess
adult book.
I guess you're right because the characters are old and like the.
She has a PhD.
Yeah, she's like
we already
35.
gave a working definition of young adult.
I
This is
know
still-
we did, and he's 2,000 years old.
Yeah.
He's
This is
2,000
He's
years
a
old?
vampire.
Oh, actually.
Yeah.
He's
It's
2,000.
an adult fantasy
He's
book.
actually a bottle of sand.
All right.
So
Before, yeah.
What?
We need to
just
do
like the Poppy War, the
Stand
bucket of
by.
water.
Wait. A bottle of what?
2,000 years old, you'd be like nothing, you know.
No, he's a
He's a vampire.
yeah. He's
just,
a vampire.
I'm screwing with Kristin.
Okay, got it.
It's just not working. She's not good at it.
I didn't follow along.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Erica, you're going to do the 60-second because you recently read it?
Mhm.
Or were you going to do it?
I don't. I mean, I can half of it. I don't. Know.
I can do it.
Okay, Erica. Okay, Erica.
Okay.
Erica's going to give us the plot summary of A Discovery of Witches in 60 seconds or less. She did pretty well with Diaper's Den. However, this is no Diaper's Den.
This has a plot.
This has a lot of.
This
I'm
plot.
actually
is a
excited.
lot of
so,
plot.
background, I know absolutely nothing about this book, about this show. So you are going to be filling me in. And Maria, you said you read it back in the day. So both of you are going to be.
I read a couple years ago. I remember
in.
most of it, but the small little intricate details elude me.
Okay, perfect. Well, this will be good because I'll be able to ask you questions because I have no idea.
I could have done a refresher, but I was in the middle of Diaper's Den, so.
Diaper. Then.
All right, Erica, let's get 60 seconds on the clock.
Wait, I do it. Because I don't want you to have your own power. That's not how it goes here.
Yeah, that's why you did well last time.
Yeah, 'cause she got.
No, it's definitely because there's no plot.
Stopwatch in 3, 2.
Okay, we have Diana and Matthew. Matthew is a vampire. Diana's a witch who decided that she doesn't want her powers, so she like rejects using them, but she's a super powerful witch and she's a researcher and she decided to research alchemy, which is very much rooted in witchcraft in this world, and she calls upon a book when doing her research that has a bunch of, I don't even know, like it's been lost for 500 years or something crazy like that, and then because of that wave of power it like attracts everybody, and this one book is supposed to house all of the secrets of all of the different factions. There's demons, witches, and vampires and humans, and it's supposed to like
15
talk
seconds.
about the creation of life for all of them, which means so many other things. So all of these different factions are trying to get to Diana because she can call upon this book.
5.
And nobody else has been able to do that, and Matthew is very protective
2,
of her and he falls in
1,
love with her,
and time.
they're not supposed to be in love.
Time.
It's a forbidden love.
You got a lot in there.
Okay.
You got a lot.
So a witch, a book, and a wardrobe. Nope. Wrong book. So a witch and a book
And a vampire.
and a whole bunch of like demons and shit.
So there's demons, there's witches,
Okay.
there's humans, and there's vampires. Humans don't really know the existence of witches and demons and vampires,
Okay.
right? And they're sort of like the only 4 that we know of. And this book is meant to like have information on them and their sort of their evolution. So Matthew thinks that vampires are going extinct, from what I remember.
Yeah. And
So
he's
in
trying
that
to solve
book,
for that problem.
He's trying to solve for that problem. He's
Okay.
like a genetic researcher kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so he wants the book for that. And so Diana, like she said, she doesn't want to do magic. She's just like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to touch it. But she has a lot of powerful magic. So she was doing research for all these like archaeology kind of books kind of thing.
Alchemy,
Yeah. And she calls this book, and this book, when she touches it, it kind of just like sends out the bat signal. And everybody it's like an earthquake. They all can feel it, that it's out. It's back in the world. And everyone's like,
she was able to get it? She's just powerful.
Because she has a specific kind of like her magic.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just like, I think it's something to do with their DNA. I don't think they really went into why yet.
They sort of touch on it in the end, like her and him, like because of their love and something with them and her bloodline and his bloodline, sort of like, you know, this fated soulmates thing.
Yeah, so you're not supposed to like cross between like faction, or I don't know what to call them.
You're supposed to like demons stay with
Species?
demons,
Species.
witches stay with witches, vampires with vampires. You don't mix.
Okay.
But demons are born into like human families. So like you like me and John could have a baby and it could be a demon.
Well, that's definitely going to happen. And do we
Definitely.
follow any humans? There's no human characters? But do you like see them throughout the book?
Not really. We don't really focus on them.
So
Yeah.
what world are we in? Are we in
Regular.
our real world? Regular world?
Regular world.
Oh, how does it
It's just
start?
like, I think the only thing about like humans is like they touch upon it a bunch of times where it's like, don't make sure the humans don't cause any attention for the humans. Like,
so
it's
do
kind
they
of like
look
that.
like humans, like the
Yeah.
witches and everything? So they're just like everyday people.
Think
Think.
of like Harry Potter and the Muggles.
Okay,
Yeah,
they're like
yeah,
muggles. All right, cool.
So this whole all of this goes and like surpasses the humans. This has nothing to do with humanity.
Yeah, they're just around.
So the witch and not the lion.
No, this is not Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
The witch, I really didn't mean to say that.
The witch and
The vampire get together in the end.
well, he ends up like just trying to like get everyone away, and they end up like just like vibing with each other, and then they like slowly kind of fall in love. But it's so forbidden that you like can die. I think you could be executed, or
There's like a whole council.
yeah. There's always an evil
There's
council.
always a council.
Oh yeah, it has to be.
So
And
like,
they're like, they can't be together. And then
So you
she's
can't
like,
even,
you
like-
can't tell me who to love.
you can't even like have dinner with a vampire, or
It's
like you
very
can't-
much like everything's
Very
separated.
forbidden.
So them just like even being at the same table, like talking to each other, is like causing a lot of uproar. So like later in the series or later in the book, she like goes to France with him at his like estate, and
He has a castle.
he has a castle, yeah.
Nice.
And somebody from the order comes and says like, you guys need to like not be doing
You
this.
gotta cut this shit out now.
Okay.
And Diana's like, I already love him.
I love him. It's been a month, but I love him.
Is there like a big bad in all of this, or is it everybody just coming for the book?
The
It's
order
like-
is
The order is
in
kinda
my head
bad.
is the big bad.
Her parents get killed too, like when she was like 10 or something
was
like that.
younger.
So she always thought that it was an accident, but it was like other witches murdered them,
Okay.
and her mom was like one of the most powerful witches ever. So it's like this, it's like a big thing. It's a big plot point.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters yet.
It matters more towards the end of the book. I remember
Yeah.
it was like all the secrets revealed kind
Yeah.
of thing. But in the beginning, it's very much like she's trying to deny her magic, but she's starting to manifest it in crazy ways because of the book.
Okay.
And when someone tried, I think it was Nox. Was it Nox? Tried to come after her at some point. Like
Yeah.
she starts causing magic that has been unseen for generations.
Ooh.
Right? So she was able to call upon like this
The
kind of wind and fire.
It's the elemental.
A lot of elemental magic that she had never done before.
That's cool.
And especially if you've been repressing your magic for so long, for her to just project this powerful magic
Yeah.
with never doing it before, everyone's like, yo, who the fuck is this chick?
That's really
So
interesting.
then Matthew like studies her DNA and he gets a blood sample, and they basically I'm thinking of it as like dog DNA. They like compare the DNA of like witches who they know, like they've basically identified different DNA strands to like different powers.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right,
That's
if
neat.
you have this DNA, you have firepower. If you have this, you have telekinesis, or like all those different DNA strands. And like usually most witches only have like 2 to 4 powers,
Okay.
and she has like
All of them.
15.
That's actually really neat. And like, do you think that's why it's called the discovery of witches?
No, that's what I was telling you a couple episodes ago from one of the first texts from the Kings of England when the first trials were happening. He wrote a whole pamphlet called The Discovery of Witches and sort of like how to recognize them, and more so it was sort of not meant to hunt them down or sort of cause like a genocide, but more so like understand this is what's going on and how to prevent it and this, that, and the other.
So then it's
and
like,
that was called Discovery Witch. I think that's like an ode to that.
Like, I just think that story is so interesting. Like the way that humans, like, is this set in a time where humans like were?
It's like present
This is
day.
set present day.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That is so.
But season 2 goes back in time.
So
book 2.
The beginning of book 2, well, the end of book 1, they figure out that they have to find an object. There's a specific kind of object that relates to them and figuring out the whole lineage of vampires and all this kind of stuff.
It's something like he owned.
Something that, well, that's the thing. It sort of has been jumping between because her mother had it at one point, but it came from his family, and sort of like that's how they're linked in a way, right? So that came from like he had lost it in like Victorian time, not Victorian, Elizabethan times.
Yeah.
So they go back
So
to that
they go back in time because she can do that. She can like move in time as well.
That's cool.
So they use her power,
and they're looking for them.
And they're
like
for
active, and they're like, we're gonna get caught, so we need to
orders
hide.
after them.
We need to hide in time.
Mm-hmm. So with
That's
her,
cool.
So throughout the book, when she finally starts to understand her magic and be okay with using it, she's like, all right, fine, I can't hide this any longer. I have to start practicing. She starts to practice her magic, and especially the time one. So she would jump between places, sort of astral project, and that's what they used to get to the Elizabethan times.
I wonder if that's confusing in the book. Like how it's got to
It
be
was
hard
okay
to do.
when I was reading it. It wasn't confusing me. I just know that when I started book 2, I stopped it. It was a lot of history.
Oh.
Yeah, it's more like a historical romance.
It's historical. Yeah, it's not historical fiction kind of romance because it's still set in current times in the beginning.
This is book 2.
Yeah,
But book 2 goes into Elizabethan times, then it becomes a historical fiction kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Is it slow?
it was slow for me. Like I went I don't even know how many pages I got into book 2, but I didn't get hooked.
Yeah.
And also they're together. So I was like, where goes the pining and the forbiddenness? So I was like, whatever. And I think I dropped like a lot of water on it, and so it got destroyed. And I said, well,
Dilapidated.
there goes that book.
got dilapidated.
Yeah, I hate when that happens.
I just lost it.
So how does the show compare to the book? Like, is it pretty spot on?
It's a very good adaptation.
Yeah, it's a good adaptation, and except for like the bad witch that Knox had brought in.
Jillian.
Yeah, I imagined her differently in the books. So they get this one witch who's like this badass, scary, like
She's like a recluse. Like
yeah, she's scary. So they get her to like sort of kidnap
she
Diana.
looks. You know what she looks like? The girl from The Ring.
Oh.
Yeah. So they get her to kidnap.
horrible.
They get her to kidnap Diana and take her to try to like get information out of her or something, some kind of torture shit.
If I saw that coming at me, I'd be like,
In
okay.
the book, that's something that I remember from the movie. It's from the show and the book that I didn't care for. In the book, it felt more intense and felt more like important. The show, she was a bad actress, and the CG was bad.
Really?
For that, at least for that scene, for the torture scene, was bad.
There's a lot of people who don't love the second season adaptation.
Really, I haven't heard anything about the second season yet.
Some people on Instagram have messaged in and been like, the first one's really good, but the second one isn't. And I want to talk, just because we're TV people, I want to talk a little bit about that, because book to TV adaptations are so hard.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about two different mediums that have different story arcs, right? Like a book has, these 3 parts where there are 3 like acts essentially. And yeah, per TV episode, but like how do you break that up? You know what I mean? Like it's a lot more difficult to do over God knows how many episodes.
Right.
Sometimes 10 episodes, 8 episodes, like however many you have to, because the actual TV episode has to have its own
Its arcs, and its whole.
That's
thing.
so true.
Yeah.
I never really even think about it like that. But
so you're kind of
it's like in chapters almost.
yeah, like, but it's spanning over so many different pages,
And you have to have your filler episodes too.
yeah.
True.
So people are like, oh, this wasn't a great TV adaptation, or this wasn't a good adaptation. It's like, well, they do have to make these creative like changes, because it's not an easy cut like thing.
And as I've only read the first couple chapters of book 2. just those chapters alone felt very fillery in general. Like
Yeah.
most of the beginning of book 2, it's her in the Elizabethan world trying to get the accent right because everyone's like, "What's this a fucking American accent in here? You sound weird.
Right.
Where are you from?"
Right.
Because he's fine. He's jumped
He's
back
British,
to
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
British, and he just jumps back in as if it's nothing. He understands. He's a vampire. He's been alive this whole time.
Sure.
So for her, she's jumping in, even though she's a historian and can sort of assimilate because she knows the history. It doesn't mean she speaks it well or understands basic things that happen in there. So like the dress of stuff and how she doesn't really have much power. So that's why I was bored in the beginning of the second book. So it was like, this is a lot of filler. So when you're taking that into a show,
Yeah. How do you make that interesting?
I, as a producer, would get rid of a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
I'd fill it in the first montage of the first episode. Be like, hey, look, we're in England, and look
Yeah.
at her getting dressed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you want to, like, I mean, TV episodes are just, you're thinking about the actual TV episode as a singular thing, but you have to think about the overall season.
Yeah.
And then you have to project to season 2 and 3
3
and
and
what those
4,
all
yeah.
look like too.
Did you watch all of the TV show?
No.
Oh.
I am specifically going to read the second book before I watch the second TV show.
Yeah. I do want to watch.
I
the
read the
shows.
book first.
Yeah.
This is one of those moments where I don't know how I saw the trailer for the first season. I think it was probably on YouTube or something. And I was like, that looks interesting. And when I found out it was a book, I
You
read
read
it
the book?
first,
That's a good idea.
which I think worked in my favor. Because
Maybe I
if-
should read the
I'm
book.
having a hard time I had a hard time getting through the book after watching the TV show because I was like, I already know how this is going.
But also,
That's
the
my
TV
problem.
show did the good part of condensing all the extra information that you don't
Yeah.
need to really care about.
so now I'm reading like the extra stuff and I'm like,
okay, cool.
do I need this? Because I
Probably
don't
not.
feel like I do.
Yeah, that's why I do want to
Um,
watch it though.
So coming off of, I obviously watched the show, reading the book, I felt like the first like 150 pages were really stiff. Like the
Of
wording,
the first book.
the first book, like the writing style was just really, really stiff, cold. I want to say like, what's the, like when everything's like clean and
Pristine?
yeah, I don't know, like no, what am I thinking?
I don't know, dude.
It's cold is the right word.
It's like cold and like when everything's like white, like it
Yeah,
just feels
yeah,
like
yeah,
very,
yeah.
Lifeless, just lifeless.
It
yeah.
just felt like
I'm trying to
very-
think of like how I felt when I first read the book, and I feel like in the beginning it might have been slow for me, and that was
It
when
was
I
slow, yeah.
wasn't reading as often back then, right? It was like once in a blue moon I was able to get a book in my hands because work was crazy. So I remember the beginning was probably like, this is cool. I like witch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a vampire. Yeah, that's some Twilight shit right there, huh? And then I remember like when she started manifesting her powers, that's when I was like, ooh, this is crazy.
That's
And
cool.
I loved the middle towards the end of the book, right? And then I was like so excited I finished. I was like, this is such a great book. I want to read all 3. And then book 2 just lost me.
I think what they did really well in the book is, and I think they did it really well in the TV series too, is creating the relationship between Matthew and Diana. Like it's very organic, it's very natural.
it didn't feel rushed.
It doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel like Fated Mates, even though it is Fated
Yeah,
Mates.
yeah.
They actually like vibe with each other instead of it just being like insta-lust and we're destiny.
I think the book
and-
did it better than the show. Because the show, because it's only like, 8 episodes?
Yeah.
6, 7, or 8 episodes, the show felt insta-lovey to me. Maybe.
They definitely like have like an instant connection, but I feel like it is more rooted in like their personality than their looks and stuff. They like each other very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also just don't like her as an actress.
No.
No.
A lot of people didn't love the casting of her. I think everyone's happy
felt
with
dry.
Matthew.
Matthew's perfect. He's
Matthew
great.
Good is amazing.
She felt like a broomstick.
I think she looks the part.
She looks it perfectly fine. But her personality, like Diana to me is more feisty, more like she has more spunk to her.
She seems scared.
This actress seems very
Yeah.
scared at all times.
Timid.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would like that.
I personally didn't like hate her
Yeah.
as much as everyone else did, but I do see that.
Is this
Yeah.
like popping
Especially-
off right now?
Especially
I
reading
remember people liked it a lot.
the book, I feel a little bit differently about the casting of Diana.
Okay.
But when I watched the show, I didn't think twice of her.
Okay. That's fair. But like, I just feel like I've been seeing it a lot more lately. I didn't know if it
I
was
think
like.
a lot of people are reading the book. I think a lot of people have read this book, this
I think
series.
so. I think so.
That's cool.
And then second season, you obviously got enough people to watch the first season.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
to
true.
get a second season.
That's a good point. And
I was worried that it wouldn't even go to a second season.
I was too, because Sundance is such a random
Such a random channel. When I saw that it was
Get it to work.
Sundance Channel, I was like, oh, damn it, I had to start a free trial for something.
I
7
tried
day free
watching
trial.
it. Yeah, but I tried watching it 3 times and the player kept just not working. So I was like, I'm giving up on this. So I didn't
I got
even
it on
watch
Apple TV.
So Witches, what like I fucking love Witches, dude. I love Witches so much. Do
Witches
they
are my
go
favorite.
into a lot of like detail about witches and like you're saying it's set in this time? Do they talk about like the old school like the witch trials or anything? Is it set? Where is it set? Is it in New England?
New
or is
England.
It,
No,
it
it's
is?
in,
No,
it's
it's
in
in
London.
England.
Oh, it's overseas.
Oxford, right? Is it Oxford?
I think so.
Yeah, it's all in the UK, but she's American.
See, I don't know anything about.
She grew up in like upstate New York.
Yeah, she's American, but they're in the UK.
I do. Is there a history then with like in England and witches? Is there something there too? Or
For
is it-
sure.
I see. I just don't
you know
know.
what
But
I
they
did?
don't cover it.
I liked Matthew because like they did like a lot of things where he would be like, "Oh yeah, me and Darwin were buddies." Like he sent me
and
like
that's
this.
heavy. That's heavy in the second book. In the
Yeah.
beginning, because he was part of all these secret societies,
Yeah,
or at least one, the All Souls
Yeah.
Society kind of thing.
that's cool.
And he knew like Shakespeare, and so he was like, he's not even that great, you know?
Yeah, like
That's
he has
cool.
like side comments for all these things. And, like she's doing research in one of his houses, and like she's like, "Is this like the original Bible?" And he was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, whatever. It's cool.
See,
Like it's
that's
like that kind of
interesting.
stuff."
Yeah.
And
he
that's
brings
what
that
I
kind of
liked.
vibe. He brings that kind
Yeah.
of something I loved from the book and the show. I get well, they didn't do much in the show, but in the book, her house. So her house is like its own entity, really. It's like another
Yeah,
character.
like it's like alive
Yeah, and
Really?
so the house doesn't like Matthew coming in. Does
because
it?
it's a vampire. So it's like
And it can tell
Oh.
if company's coming, it'll like adjust itself for people.
That's fucking neat.
It'll make itself work for whatever you need.
What a good
right?
idea.
And on top of that too, they have a cat. And I remember
Yeah.
this moment. I might have texted you about this because I laughed out loud through this moment.
Oh man,
So the cat is a bitch of a cat. Like no, he doesn't like anybody,
that's my old
but
cat.
loves Matthew.
Oh, I love
Right.
that.
So there was this one scene where like the cat brings Matthew a dead mouse, and Matthew's like, "Thanks, hun, but I'm good." And the cat's like, "Fuck you, mouse." like hits the mouse. And like, "You're unworthy of him." I don't know why that stuck out to me. It's such a great little moment with the cat. I'm just like,
Dude, I love
was
that.
cute.
When like animals are little side characters or like not like, main
Like, they
characters.
have,
We
like,
talked
a
about this before.
personality.
Yeah. When they're just like kind of like show up. I just love that because like we always forget to like add pets into stories and
yeah.
stuff. Like it's such
I thought that was a perfect way to add the pet. Also, like witches and familiars is a very big thing
Yes.
too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So like the fact that there is a cat that's part of the family
Mm-hmm.
and not just like a regular like schmegular basic cat. It has a personality and it doesn't like people, but it trusts Matthew, which is weird.
You want to know
know?
something funny? Today, my boyfriend and I went house shopping. Like we looked at houses today, and we went to this house, and the first thing I noticed was like a little cat bed in the window. And we love cats.
Cute.
And I was like, oh, I could see like a little cat there. How cute. And then we go into the bathroom, and I'm like, wait, there's a litter box in there. I was like, oh, these people actually have a cat. I was like, cool. It wasn't just like set up and staged. And we go and check out one bedroom, and I look over. I was like, that's a fucking cat. I was like, Mike, is that cat real? He's like, that's a fucking cat. And I was like, oh my God, it's alive. It's alive. And I ran over and I like just sat and pet the cat. It was like it looked like a kitten almost. It was tiny. And I pet the cat for like 5 minutes and I was like, I don't want the house. I want the cat. So a very good, but like imagine if I was like deathly allergic.
yeah, that's kind of crazy.
that
to
house
just
would kill me.
leave.
Yeah, you would have walked in
That
and been
house would
like,
kill me. I can't.
interesting tactic, but that's what that reminded me of.
That's
Anyway.
kind of crazy to like like. What happens if you left the door open?
Right?
I don't know.
I would-
I'm
wouldn't have
assuming they
trusted that.
trust that. And if the cat's
must
there
just-
and they're not worried
It was
about
just
it,
laying there on the bed all nice.
It probably
and
doesn't wanna go
not
outside.
bothering
What color
anyone.
was it?
It was all different colors. It was like brown
Brindle?
and
I love those. I love when they're all different
Yeah.
colors.
It was like brown and black and gray and
fun.
What a cutie.
it was really cute. Sorry,
yeah.
didn't mean to.
We
take us out
derailed.
there.
Sorry, but yeah, the house was like its own little character, and
That's
I
cool.
love that it changed rooms and stuff. Like
That's
it didn't like Matthew. What else? There's a lot of things in this book that was really cool. I love the magic part of it. I love the love story.
Mm-hmm.
Like Erica said, it didn't feel like it was insta-lovey. It didn't feel like it was shoving down your throat, kind of like they're meant to be together.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like Bella.
But it
Edward
was
kind of
very like strong and intense.
thing. Mhm.
And I think part of that is the forbiddenness of it.
Yeah.
I think
I
that
like that.
kind of like, and it wasn't like, you can't be together. Like it was just kind of like, yo, you can't be together. Like
Y'all
it
know
was
the
like,
rules.
like,
Yeah.
Like,
and
So
sort of, and so towards the end of the book, all these, I don't want to call them factions, but like all these different races, I guess, species, have to connect and have to come together to defeat this whole thing that they're doing.
So you just finished it.
Mm-hmm.
What rating did you give it?
I should check mine. I can't remember.
I actually didn't give it a rating yet, but I think I'm gonna give it probably a 4. I'm really stingy with my 5s.
Yeah.
I'm not, depending.
But you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it a lot. 4 to me is a book that I would read again.
Wow.
I really liked it. I thought it was really good. A 5 to me, I have
perfection.
to be left like speechless.
Yeah.
I don't give a lot of 5s.
Yeah. What's like a 5 for you?
My last 5 was Exodus, and that was it was a trilogy, and it was so weird. It was so heavy. It was a romance kind of, but it was like suspense and like scary. It was like these, I don't even know what the hell it's about. I don't even know how to describe it.
You know what would be a really fun experiment is if each of us had to read each other's like favorite book.
I've always said this. This is what I've been doing for.
Somebody
I
asked
asked
me-
Katie what her favorite book was, and I still haven't read it.
Somebody
I'm
asked
supposed to
me,
read Dark Matter like for 4 years, and I haven't picked it up.
Dark Matter. That sounds familiar. Somebody asked me what my favorite book was, and I was like,
Yeah, it's
I can't.
tough.
I don't know.
Well, I'm giving you the Stephen King Dark Tower series, and one of my favorite book is the second one. So you'll take care of that. You'll read it.
and then we'll do an episode on Stephen King Dark Tower.
God, that's gonna be tough.
At least the first.
You better start
2
making notes
books.
now.
It's gonna be really tough.
Just to say, I rated this book 5 stars.
Oh,
I
wow.
had started it in January of 2019 and finished it in March 2019. It took me 3 freaking months to read it.
But you did it.
But that was when I wasn't reading like
Yeah.
consistently.
Are there any other witch books that you guys can think of that we can recommend?
Oh, I just read Hollow Heathens.
You finished it?
Oh yeah, you
I
were
just
talking
read
about
it.
that.
Of course you
And
finished it.
this book was so good. It was so cool. It was like a really cool world.
I hear it's amazing.
Hollow
I hear it's
Heathens?
It was
really,
really,
good.
really
I gotta look
good. I had some problems with like random things that like really don't matter. I rated it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
So like the ending was a little abrupt.
Is it a witch story?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like all covens, and they're in like this one town called, I don't even know, Hollow something, whatever. They're in this town, but it's like a bubble. They can't like communicate with
Like
the
in
outside
Once
world.
Upon a Time.
Yeah, it's like Once Upon a Time, and you can't leave unless
yeah,
like the
Once Upon a
town
Time.
wants you to
Storybrooke.
leave.
Right. It's
Yeah.
literally Storybook.
I love that.
And there's these Hollow Heathens, and there's kind of like a bunch of backstory, but basically, and I don't want to give too much away because basically the whole book you're confused.
Oh,
Fun.
Yeah, the
That's-
whole book.
by
You're
the
in
end, you
You're in
understand?
a state of confusion, and then by the end, everything makes total sense, and you're like,
is it a one-off?
I think it's gonna be a series, but it's gonna be one-off stories.
Oh, cool.
So like each of the covens has their own like family name, and this was just like Blackwell, the Blackwell
Of
coven.
course, it's always a Blackwell.
And then I think the next coven that they're covering is Danvers, and that coven really wasn't in the first book because they like got killed off. So I think that's going to be a really interesting story to like unearth.
Cool. Do you have
But,
any witch
yeah.
ones?
Yeah. I read Magic Lessons at the beginning of the year.
Mm.
It is the prequel to Practical Magic.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I have a physical copy if one of you want to read it. But
Very cool.
now I want to read Practical Magic because
I've never read it.
fun fact about me, I love Sandra Bullock.
Me
She
too.
is one of my favorite actresses, hands down. I like to just sit and watch her like 90s films over and over again, like Sleeping in
I didn't know that was a book.
Neither did
I
I.
didn't either.
I didn't either. And then when I saw this Practical Magic 0.01 or 0.1, whatever, I was like, what? So then I started and I was like, wow. So basically, when you watch Practical Magic, the film, you hear about Maria and the curse that she put on all Owen's descendants. This follows Maria
Oh.
Oh.
and her story.
Is it an older book or is it a
No,
newer
it just
book?
came out.
Oh shit.
It literally just, hold on, I'll tell you right now when it published.
October 2020.
Yeah, it just came out.
Holy shit.
So
Wait, what's it called again?
Magic Lessons.
Magic Lessons.
I really like. It was hard for me to connect to the characters in this, but I think that's more of a me problem. I think it has beautiful writing.
Okay.
I really want to read Practical Magic now because of how book was written. The way a lot of the chapters sort of start, they kind of have like old witch recipes. So like for anxiety, drink this tea with this and that. Like a lot of like old herbal holistic things. I was like,
That's
oh, I'm
cool.
so into it. Or like, when the moon is this, do that kind of thing, right?
That's what I like. Yeah.
I loved it. I thought those things were really good. So we follow Maria's story, how she falls in love with this guy who sort of like just leaves her. She ends up being pregnant, and that's how the line starts. You know,
Oh,
it's like,
cool.
if the curse that you have is that men can't fall in love with you, how you having kids? But
Yeah.
that's where you get the story told.
Yeah.
And follows her daughter as well, who like gets born. Yeah. So
Nice.
that's one that I would recommend.
I really don't read a lot of witch books now that I'm
I
looking.
Right?
I have a lot of ones that I want to read.
Yeah. I want to read one that's like about the witch trials. So if anybody has any recommendations that like involves either the witch trials or just like some cool ass witch books.
I bought one recently. I just still haven't picked it up.
The only thing
'cause-
that did that for me was
Witch in
Outlander.
Time.
Like Outlander hit a couple of the
but it wasn't really witchy.
No,
Oh,
but
I
it
have
hit
another
some
one.
of them that I liked.
I have one called The Vine Witch.
The Vine Witch.
The Vine Witch. I read it last year. It follows so you can get a beer witch, a vine witch, people who like do magic through making wine.
Oh, that is
right?
so cool.
Or one does it through
Wow.
making beer. Or one's a baker. Like that's sort of their
that
magic.
is neat.
And so she's a vine witch. She can do it through wine in a vineyard. And she gets like cursed by someone, and she's like lives as a toad for like 2 years.
Oh shit.
And basically the curse is supposed to just kill her off. But as she lives in this toad's head, she's like, nah,
Rent free.
you're not gonna you're
I'm
not
sorry. What?
it's very small. It's like you get thrown in right. Do you remember how you want to get thrown in right in the beginning of it? You just get thrown in, not know
into
anything.
a toad.
She's a toad. Yeah. Hold on. Let me make sure.
I don't want to be a toad.
Why? It's better than being a fucking chicken lizard.
I think it was a toad or
Okay.
some kind of like little animal. So she's
It's
able
not
to
even a
break
toad.
the curse of it.
Yeah.
Right? Because she was like,
I'm a toad, bitch.
She's able to break that curse, and she's out for revenge because she knows who did it. It was her ex.
Yeah.
Right? She
It's
goes
always
after
the
her
ex.
I
But,
told you not to make me into a toad.
comes in, finds out the vineyard she loved and worked for as a child has been sold off to this man, falls in love with the man because he's trying to make it as a wine guy. Anyway, it was an okay book. I liked it.
Interesting.
I like the use of magic within different things, not just basic like elemental, like I'm gonna curse you this. It's like
Yeah.
my magic is to make good wine. Your
I
magic
love
is to make
that.
good beer. Like that, I thought that was a very cool aspect
That is
of that.
cool. Yeah, I want more recommendations in that world. So
We'll ask the people.
go to our Instagram, books_n_Betches, BETCHES, and send us some recommendations. And also hit us up and be our friends. And let us know if there's anything you want us to cover or talk about or read. And Erica will definitely read it.
She's the one that can read it fast enough.
I know.
I can't read that
I
fast.
can't keep up. How many books you at now?
Oh yeah, how's your
Um,
goal?
Yeah, I need an update.
There you go, 65.
65.
65 this year.
Yeah.
I think I've read 6.
I've read 13, I think.
Cool. Glad we're all,
65 books.
it's in character for each of us, and that's what I'm happy about.
I'll probably finish one today. The otter one.
The otter one.
I saw that on our story. I was dying.
It's
Erica's
basically
reading a
Ace
book.
Ventura.
Ace Ventura.
Let me know how it is at the end because I'd love to talk about that.
Can't
one.
wait. I'll post it on the
I
story.
think I would like to
Also-
get a list of your the craziest romances you've ever read.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that should be
Okay.
a podcast episode.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and if anyone has any crazy romance ones, send them our way.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Cool.
That's my
You're
new
doing
outro.
so good.
I'm gonna start saying that. We'll catch you in the next one.